Welcome to the Delight Your Marriage podcast. You're joining me, Belah Rose, as I dive deep into the beauty, power, and truths about intimacy. Learn not only the practicals, but the heart behind what making love is all about. Delight your marriage.
Hello, everyone. This is Dario. My wife is about to speak, and I interrupt. So this is me, husband of Belah. So she can introduce.
Amazing. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you, honey. Okay, well, here we are on our little corner on our carpet because we had some construction people that needed to fix our bathroom, and so we are here. It's it's reminiscent of 10 years ago when we started this whole thing. And you remember what was holding up the microphone? Do you remember?
Oh, yes, I remember.
What was it?
I even took a picture. Then you said, hey, let me take a picture. Maybe, who knows? If this continues, we'll show and look back. And remember, it was that oatmeal box. And you put, I think, sand or rocks.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember. Or rice. Something heavy. Yeah. So you can put your little microphone there and to keep it steady.
That's right.
With this, foldable table.
Mm-hmm.
Because, New York City, you had to make space.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to have those tables and a little higher so the kids won't pull those things.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so here we are. We have graduated 10 years later to the floor. But this is usually where we sit for morning Saturday coffee, which is super fun. But yeah, I asked my husband to have a conversation with me because in the trainings we do, if you've listened to Delight Your Marriage for a while, you know that we, over the many years now, we have big programs for men and women separately to teach them how to love their spouse well in the way that God designed them, to really empower, for wives to empower their husbands to lead spiritually and be all that God wants them to be and be free in intimacy, and also for husbands to empower their wives to be all that she is meant to be, to have her thrive as a woman of God and to be free in their intimate connection. And that's really where it all started, and where the books and the podcasts and the free trainings and then ultimately the coaching programs have evolved to. So where we are today is the little corner carpet. Here we are. So let's talk about strengths and weaknesses. I wanted to bring my wonderful husband on because when we look at ourselves and we look at our spouse, I would say that of all the people in the world that can impact us, our spouse is at the very top. What do you think?
I think so.
So the person that can heal or harm us the most is right there beside us on the bed.
That's right. Oh, yes.
And so if they see us as annoying or rude or frustrating or dumb, that really impacts our sense of self.
When they see us annoying, yeah, that's not a helpful way to feel that way.
Yeah. And so the truth of the matter is I have strengths and I have weaknesses, and my husband has strengths and he has weaknesses. And the beauty of marriage is so often we're attracted to that which we are not. That's why husbands are attracted to wives and wives' husbands. That's how it happened. Male and female, they're supposed to be opposites attracting. And so to have even opposite personalities, I think it is really a wise thing that God gave us so that we are a full whole if we see each other as good in the ways that they are strong. What do you think, babe?
It's very easy to see the weaknesses of the other person, and it's very easy to say it to the other person. And I feel like a lot of times that the people, they say their weaknesses to their spouse, and instead of either trying to help by encouraging some things, but instead they say it, and at the end there's going to be some disagreements, because the other person also wanted to say something, wanted to say their weaknesses of the other spouse. And I feel like the conversation is not going to go anywhere except to be frustrated to each other. Instead, you can say the strengths.
Yeah.
What are they good at?
Yeah, and when I think about our whole marriage and the ways I've grown, by God's grace, I feel as though your focus was so often on my strengths. It was not on my weaknesses. Even, if we just take the podcast, since we're talking about how it all started, or when I wrote my book, because I wrote the book first, you were never, there was not a comment that you made of, oh, this can't work, or this is not going to happen, or why are you wasting your time? It was always cheering me on and excited about the new ideas that I had, and sacrificing for the new ideas and where we might go. And even the idea, when you took a picture of me, it's so funny that you say that. When you took a picture of me, I remember you saying something like, in the future, we'll show everyone. This is how it all started. You said that. I mean, you were constantly planting seeds of, you're going to win. You're going to be victorious. You're going to get this. And the interesting thing is, my husband and I are so different. We have such different personalities. And I really am weak where he is strong. I mean, that is a real thing. I think God gives me his strength through my spouse. So as a quick example, not even too long ago, honestly, it's if I were to kind of rewind and see how I've grown, it really is season by season. Some of the things, if you're in one of the coaching programs, you'll find that I do with all the clients is a life vision document. And so we really map out what we want it to look like when we meet Jesus. So from there, you can scroll it all back to, okay, what does it look like 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 1 year from now, and then every quarter. And then I spend time discerning what are my top 3 focuses for mastery every quarter. And so in the past, it's been exercise, or it's been energy, or it's been home systems, or it's been organization, or just all sorts of things. And because I focus on that to grow, I'll read books on it in that season, or I'll do whatever I think needs to be done. I'll get a mentor, or I'll get coaching in particular areas. Maybe it's sales, maybe it's whatever it might be. And then, and so I'm much, much, much better than I used to be. But there are still things that my husband sees every day that I still need growth in. And so it's not to say that, oh, I'm going to be weak in these things forever. But it does mean that my husband knows I'm going to be weak in some areas. And he sees that this is still an area that I struggle with. And he has grace for me, yet he keeps in mind how I've grown already and where I'm going to continue to grow. And the best way for growth for me is in encouragement. If you want your spouse to grow, encourage the good.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what reminds me? When I took our kids outside in the park and it was dark, and I was playing with them with these trees, these branches. That was, I think they were 5 and 6 years, 6 years old. And I was playing with them, and you text me, you say, oh, what are you guys doing? Where are you guys at? And I text you that we are playing with these branches. I used to put it on top of these branches and swing them. with safety. Sweep them, and we were just laughing. And then you text me, you said, "You're a great father."
Yeah.
You're a great father. And, I didn't think of anything. I didn't feel anything. But somehow I felt like I needed those words to say or to see. And that made me feel very special that I'm doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I texted back, I said, thank you. I didn't know that I need those words.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fine, when I didn't expect those, and then you mentioned those. It really made me feel special.
Yeah.
Really, encouraged me more to be present with those, with these little guys.
Well, and that's the thing that's so amazing about the way we're different, is because you are very skilled at being present. You're very good at playing with them and getting into their world and showing them that what they're thinking about matters. I'll tell you, my husband is an incredible soccer player, and now my sons are incredible soccer players, because you've spent the time to be with them, to be present with them. And so I think as a listener, maybe you're a little more like me, maybe you're a little bit more like my husband. What are your strengths? Lean into those, and then lean into your spouse's strengths and encourage the good that they're doing, because your spouse is doing good in their life. And the more you can encourage and see that, the more they can grow in that strength and lean into that. And the more they're empowered then to grow even in their weaknesses.
That's beautiful. The things that you say, the weaknesses that we have, and we help to one another, whatever the other person's feeling that day, that moment. And we are aware of that. We know. And instead to continue pressing, pushing them down, we know how that person feeling at that moment. And we can try to find a way to process those things, or if she or he needs company, to be there, or she or he needs some quietness, to respect that. I think it's beautiful to have that, and knowing that you're going to have it, instead of, I don't know what he or she will say or feel if I'm feeling this way, instead of feel the freedom, feel the freedom for you to be who you are with your spouse.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because to some degree, we all have highs and lows. We all have the really great days and the really hard days, or just the really great moments and the really hard moments. My husband's got his eyebrows up.
Do we have a low?
Maybe not
moments?
us. Oh. No, not us.
We do not have lows.
Other folks.
Some other folks. we
don't.
always
on
up. A high level.
Always highs. But that's really the special thing, is when my husband is when I'm having a moment, my husband knows my weaknesses, and he knows when things affect me the most. And I'll just throw myself under the bus, is if I'm on a screen too much, I know it affects me, and my husband knows it affects me. Or even over the years, thank God, I used to have such eating issues, and if you've listened to me long enough, you know that that's something I've confessed to you probably so many times. But I used to have such eating issues, and again, by God's grace, he's grown me so much. But if I ever slip back, my husband, he knows that affects me, and it's not that he is annoyed with it, or he's afraid I'm going to gain weight, or that's not what it is. It's he cares about me. And so he knows that when I take one step in the wrong direction, and then I take another step, it's going to lead to another step, and it's going to lead to another step. And then ultimately we're going to get to a spot where not just I suffer, but he suffers and the kids suffer and everything else. But I think it starts with that compassion for your spouse. And that's really where my husband's been for, I don't know, ever. It started from the compassion for me, that he doesn't want me to suffer. And so he uses his strengths to make up for my weaknesses and accept them and accept that they're there. And you don't get angry about the fact that I'm weak in certain areas.
Oh no. Because I feel like if I will get angry, if I will get angry, where are we going? Like you said, when we have our moments, what will help for me getting angry?
Yeah.
And instead of be, what do you say, compassion?
Yeah.
Be with that person that knows you, then you won't get upset. But to let that person know that you're with him, you're with her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. It's okay. What do you need? You need to rest. Because if I'm getting angry, I will feel like it will lead you to more desperation to do those things. Mm-hmm. With the eating and stuff, instead of helping. It will if I'm feeling this way and my spouse feeling angry, what's the point? So let's just do these things, while it's happening. You're numbing the feelings so you don't feel anything. But once, eventually will end. And that's when hard things start happening. And just like you said, it will affect the spouse, you and me. It will affect the kids.
Right.
And it's crazy that I see, also with people that we know. People that we know, they're like, they always compete to each other. Mm. They always compete to each other. And like, when you married to that person, is that to compete to one another or to support one another? Mm. To put your arm around them and to say, okay, we want to do this together.
Yeah.
Or instead of crippled to one another. And it's that, that's what we're here for. You don't have to, well, you can let that person know, but also show your help and your support with that person. Your spouse when it's having a hard time.
Yeah. That's right. I love that you said, are we here to compete? Are we here to support? Are we here to be a team? Are we here to be unified? And that's the truth of the matter, is you are meant to be unified with your spouse. The devil wants to get a foothold between you and your spouse. He wants to separate you, because when you are filled up in your marriage, physically, emotionally, spiritually, when you really are united towards God in all the ways that you are a human, then you're able to thrive and you're able to do what God wants you to do in this world. But yeah, the enemy is trying to get a foothold. So does it mean that you don't get to have real conversations with your spouse? You don't get to share when you're not feeling supported, or you this and that? What usually I would say happens is when one person doesn't feel supported, it's very frequently that the other person doesn't feel supported. And so, we talk about the marital health spectrum a lot at Delight Your Marriage. And I would invite you to go to delightyourmarriage.com/MHA for the marital health assessment, Because what that'll do is give you, it'll give you a sense of where you are right now, so you understand your strategy. Because my husband and I are at a much higher level. I mean, I guess I should ask him. What do you think?
Well, I no, I think so.
You
Because,
think so?
I mean, like, what, like, I think so.
Good.
That's the
did
answer.
Did you hear how his voice raised? I think so.
Trying to think of some things, some negative things.
That you
but
think about the negative things, honey. Let's
no,
get
just-
it out there. This is they need to know.
they need to know negative
They
things.
need to know.
You need to know some positive things.
They need the positive things. Well, and I guess what the marital health assessment helps you to see is in the 4 different areas that we parse out, getting a sense of where you are right now. Because what that'll do is help you to understand where to go next. Our specific training programs are separated. Men and women are separated because essentially we teach what maybe your mom should have taught you daughters, and maybe your dad should have taught you sons, but that's not the way it happened. And so we want to give you that guidance and clarity and scripture-based insights and 21st century practicals to heal your marriage. But when you've got a 9 out of 10 kind of marriage, then the finer points where maybe even a counselor would help, if there's communication. Because the thing is, I would say one of our seasons of areas of needing growth, if you don't mind if I share it, is probably just parenting. I need growth on parenting. My husband's a killer at so many aspects of parenting, but I think we've never been parents before our current parent kids. And so, it's just, but that's going to be the aspect of every season of your life. God's going to point out new things and new opportunities to grow. And so we're, excited to pursue parenting coaching for that. But I mean, that's the way life should be, is your focus should not always be on your marriage. It's get your marriage healthy. It's not an obsession. The focus of marriage should not be your whole point of life is your marriage. It's get it healthy, get yourself in a sustainably sacrificial way towards your spouse so you can move on with what God wants you to do in your life. I mean, evangelizing your neighbors, impacting your schools, impacting your community. God has lots of issues in the world for you to solve. And what we want to do at Delight Your Marriage is heal the vehicle to solve it. And that's why I'm so thrilled. We've got people all over the world that tune in to Delight Your Marriage, even in countries where Christian media is not welcome, and yet Delight Your Marriage is there. It's amazing. Missionaries, pastors, I'm so honored that you tune in. And so what I would invite you, no matter where you are, no matter what culture, even what language you speak natively, you can hear my husband's amazing accent. He is incredible to know more than one language, but it's the same principle. God has given your spouse giftings. Ephesians 3 is really clear. We are God's workmanship. Another translation says, we are God's masterpiece. And let me tell you, God doesn't make junk. So your spouse has untold goodness that God has given them, whether it's beauty, inside and outside. There are gifts that your spouse has which made you attracted to them in the first place. That's those strengths, those giftings. And yeah, maybe they're not working on their weaknesses. Fine. But focus on those strengths so they get to a place of almost like they're no longer clawing after your acceptance. And they can feel at ease knowing, okay, I am good enough. I am okay. And from that place, they can start to look, okay, what do I need to grow in next? How do I need to improve next? Because I can tell you, my husband has absolutely amazing strengths. Just amazing. You know, one thing that is so incredible for him to be a person in this community. We live in New York City. There are a lot of single parent households, usually moms. And there are a lot of boys that don't have a good dad represented in their home. And my husband is the role model for untold numbers of boys in this neighborhood. And what does he do? He gets a big group of boys together to play soccer. And they all know that Mr. Dario loves them and wants them to score and kick the ball. And, you know, it's a completely indirect way of guiding them into manhood. It's absolutely amazing. And that's it's just an innate strength that that he walks in every day and really embodies. But
thank you.
You're welcome. I just have so much respect for the husband that I've been given, that I have the privilege of honoring and loving, because he is so much God's masterpiece. And I'm honoring God by noticing the good in him.
You know, when you talk about these boys, I'm thinking about this one kid. Because, you know, all the kids are at different... This little group of kids, they're at different ages and sizes. Mm-hmm. And I think about this specific one kid that, you know, is the same thing that the mom and dad are in the different places. And by the way, I am not tall. And this, just to let you know. So when you see me, if you see me,
very attractive though. Don't let him fool you.
Don't be surprised. So just to let you know, and this kid is tall, and he's not even 12. But I can tell that he wants to spend time with me.
Yeah.
And the parent want her son to spend time with me.
Yeah.
And somehow she feels safe with me, with leaving, you know, her son. And sometimes he's you know, the mom tells me about the son, what he does and stuff. So just to remind him, like, hey, you're a great kid. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that you help your mom, or, you know, that you help your mom. And I like when he looks at me and he says, I do help my mom. I know she's doing a lot, and I do help her.
Yeah.
It feels good to remind, you know, like another parent, to remind another kid that is not your kid that they're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's really wonderful to see a young kid that want to hang out with an adult. You know, so it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what reminds me when you mentioned those kids.
Yeah. Another thing that's really powerful that you can hear probably in what my husband's even saying right now is how he sees people. He's a very humble soul, and that's one of the things I fell in love with him about, is just how he sees individuals as precious souls before the Most High. Like, there's no one deserves to be ignored. Not one person. And that, you know, we live in New York City. That's not an easy way of being, because there's so many people. There are so many. And yeah, there's so many dynamics, but we need to just keep that in mind. What you do, what you say, how you are to strangers, to neighbors, it really does matter. And the thing that we find is, you know, we've been in this community for 12 years?
12 years, I guess.
Is it 12 years? Yeah.
12 years.
And it's amazing, because even we had a little party the other day, and without even realizing it, I've got worship music on. Well, all these non-church people are coming into our home, and then we've got little scriptures and stuff up on the walls, but what does it matter? I mean, they know that we love them. They know they're going to have a good time here. They know that we care, and little by little, those conversations come up, and we don't know. We don't know the long-term impact, and we. Anyway, the point of the matter is, even though I have things in my routines and habits that my husband knows will help me to live best.
Oh, yes.
he really does empower me to make sure I can do that. So many of you know that in our programs, we require everyone to write out 10 gratitudes every morning. So if you're not in a program, do it anyway. Just write them out. And the thing is, I think it's funny, is sometimes people wait till they feel like it to do stuff like that. And for me, I let the alarm be across the room. So when it goes off, I jump up so that hopefully my husband doesn't wake up to the alarm. I turn it off, grab my journal, write out my gratitude. So I don't really have time to decide how I feel. The other day I went to sleep so late that, which again was probably my husband's, he was trying to encourage me to go to sleep. Anyway, I didn't, but I did go to sleep late, so I didn't have my alarm clock set. And I tell you, it has been, I don't even know how many, I don't know exactly how long, because it's probably 85 to 90% of the time, every single day, even on the weekends, I wake up at a certain time, while it's still dark out. That's just what I do. And I do those gratitudes right away, because my husband knows the difference when I don't do that. And so he wants to empower me to do that. It's not because, honestly, it's not even because he does that. But he can see the difference in me. And so he wants to empower me to do what's best for me. And really, as a husband, it's him taking care of me, which, as much as in the moment, I don't want to necessarily go to sleep on time. Every now and then, I'm really excited to go to sleep on time, but most of the time, I don't want to. But I do know that that's what enables me to even do this work, is I have to have some routines. That's just my personality. If I don't stick to my routines, I'm not as effective in every sphere of life. So I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to stick to my routines, because they get better and better and better the more I do better routines.
I was going to say something.
Go for it.
When you said that you put the phone across the room, when you said across the room, it's not like a giant room in New York City, but it's a room. And when you hear your alarm, you get up as fast as possible so you can turn it off and doesn't wake me up. And then when you want to turn the light on, the lamp, you put pillows on the side so it won't wake me up. It's beautiful to see when and then my alarm, wakes me up, and I wave at you, and then you smile. I don't know, those things that, like those little things. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, you put those pillows for me, so I don't get bothered, and you still continue doing your routine.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. You're welcome. I think it's nice that you share that. So much of your marriage are in the details. Are you thoughtful in the tiny way?
Oh,
or
details.
Are you not? They're tiny. They're tiny ways, but they make a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
Even just glancing up when your spouse enters the room and smiling. If this really is your first and highest human assignment, why wouldn't you go out of your way in the tiny ways? And just tiny. It's no more effort.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
when you wake up and then, hi, honey. And then just waking up.
Well, and the way you wake up is you give me this sweet little wave every morning. I know, it's super cute. So cute. And then he makes the bed right away. That's really... I was just going to say what I was going to say. Super sexy. He just does it every morning. The room is made every morning. And it takes him 2 seconds. Just roll the sheet over. So, anyway, I think if I were to wrap this up, just to encourage the listener, when I wrote this out of what I hope somebody, whether they're across the globe or not, how do I want them to grow or be transformed by just listening to this episode? It would be to be okay that your spouse has weaknesses. Keep your focus on their strengths and seek to support them in those weaknesses.
What are words?
Anything you want to add?
Words. I just want to say thank you to those people. I mean, that's crazy that my wife's boys get, like, people are listening to in other countries. It's just insane. Like, I don't know how long, but many years we did not know where it's going to be. But God knew where it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're doing something for God, the devil is just right there waiting. And when you do something for God and trying to spread the word, the devil is just trying to get at you in all different ways to discourage you, to feel less, anything you find something negative, you know. But when just keep your focus on him and how can you love one another, is just like my wife says, to support their weaknesses and to encourage them, to let them know their strengths. It's beautiful. It's just crazy to know that her boys will be heard in is in another countries. It's so crazy. All those wives, husbands. You know, when you come home and they look at your wife coming home from work, and you'll smile and say, "Hey, how are you?" Just that, a simple gesture.
Yeah.
You know, and just letting know that person that you care about her or you care about him.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a great feeling. It's a simple gesture that is a great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And you smile instead of you come home and, you know, you just want to come home where your things, how do you say, temple? I don't know. It's great. It's a great feeling.
Any other words of wisdom?
Any other words of wisdom? Lots of them.
Lots of words. Lots. That is one thing that's really special about my husband, is how wise he is.
Oh.
It's really astounding. You know, because the thing is, our world today really looks for wisdom with education and big words and lots of books and things like that. And all that, listen, there's lots of good in that for sure. But I just want to encourage, whether you're a husband that hasn't received a degree, or your career is not what a lot of people think is, intellectual. I just really want to encourage you. Your role is the leader of your home. That's it. God put you there. And whether you are standing up in that place or not, you are leading. So maybe you're passively leading, which means your wife and your children are not being well taken care of and led. Or you're a strong leader with an iron fist, but there's not character and kindness underneath there, and that causes other issues. Or you really are seeking to lead like Jesus, who was never harsh with women. He protected them. He wanted to have the children come unto him. He was a serious person of prayer and following after God. But it didn't mean that he was a serious man that was mean to people. And I think that's sometimes how people get it wrong. So in any case, I just I've been around a lot of men given this work, and I've heard the depths of their thoughts and unfiltered feelings and hopes and all of that. And I'll say, my husband, and you can hear him, I mean, his heart is so beautiful, and his words don't have to be perfect, and his education doesn't have to be that way. He doesn't have to have the intellectual what have you. He is wise. He is a kind man. And when he sees me getting a little out of whack, I mean, he is confident enough to rein me in, but not in a way that he makes me feel like an idiot or dumb or incapable. No, he sees my strengths and he sees my weaknesses, and he's willing to have the courage to care for both. As I mentioned, and as he mentioned earlier, we're not competing. I mean, I would win, so I don't...
You win.
No, but seriously, we are not competing. He would win. We have different areas that we would win, and I would usually win at all of them. But no, I'm a very competitive person. He's but he just doesn't compete with me. He just is so confident in himself, and he's sexy. But the point is that confidence, that not needing to be better than me, but instead allowing me to thrive in my areas of strength, it's awesome. It makes me feel like I can take on the world, and I can conquer my weaknesses, and I can do all my hustle that I love to do, and get focused on God's incredible vision for Delight Your Marriage, which is just, it's just so big. So I don't know, sorry, super side, but
No, go ahead.
If you've been around Delight Your Marriage for maybe years, I just, like my husband said, thank you. Really, really thank you. Delight Your Marriage has almost doubled its team members this year. Can you believe that? This year, almost doubled. We did a vision meeting of all of our team back in February. We're going to do one again this year, in the coming year. And it's just amazing to see how much has been accomplished in just a year. And we have this vision for 2034, and it's massive. So if you have been blessed by Delight Your Marriage so far, it's just getting bigger and better. It's just getting deeper and helping people and families and legacies more. But I have a husband who sees my weaknesses. And if he only focused on those and wanted to blow those out of proportion and put me in my place, and we were in competition, I wouldn't be able to thrive in this area that God has so blessed. And instead, my husband gets to thrive in the areas that God has so blessed for him. And the truth of the matter is, we are not in competition. Just kidding. We are so different. The ways that he is gifted are so different than mine. And he can do so many different things that I can't do. And it's astounding. And that's what I want my focus to be on, is, oh my goodness, look how God has gifted him. Let me stop thinking about, I wish he was. That is such a self-centered way of focusing. And I encourage you, spouse, no matter what, no matter if you're the female, the male, no matter if you're the person a little more behind the scenes or the person way out in front, God has different plans for each of you. You all are meant to come together to be fully unified in every area. Physical intimacy is a huge part of the plan of God for your marriage. Huge. And dear husbands, you might be like, well, yeah, if we were physically unified, I absolutely would accept all of her weaknesses. No, this has to come no matter what. And dear wives, you might be thinking, well, if I was emotionally connected, physical intimacy would be a thing. And I have to encourage you as well. We have to die to ourselves. We don't get to say, well, I'm going to wait for them to do what they need to do for me to love my spouse well. We really have to both, if you're listening to my voice, love your spouse well. And that very well may empower them to change in ways that you wouldn't even have expected, because you're loving them, you're accepting them for who they are, you're loving them for who they are, and God's going to do incredible things.
That's beautiful. All you listeners, and it's exciting. I'm listening to every episode that goes with the Light Your Marriage. I love to hear those stories. And if you feel you're wondering, if you feel like, how can I get there? Get in contact with the Light Your Marriage team. The things that you'll be discovering.
Yeah.
All the things that you'll be discovering, what is the word? It will be impactful for not just for you, for your community and your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
And other kids. So if whenever you feel, when is the right time? Maybe when you come back from whatever place on all this stuff, when it's the right time, and God will show you when it's the right time. Because a lot of people are suffering that we don't even know. We just see them, that couple smile. We don't know if it's a real smile.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful to see when there's authentic smile with the couples. It's really amazing when that happens.
Yeah.
So I think this is it.
That's it?
I think
All
that's
right.
it.
Well, my husband said, you'll know it's the right time, and I'm going to get in there with my activator strength and say, now's the right time! Get in there, man! Get in there, lady! Come on, let's do it! That's the energy I bring. But what's funny is my husband, so often I'll bring up some idea or some thought or whatever, and he'd be like, yeah, I would, I don't know if it's that encouraging. I'm like, come on, it's gonna help them. And sometimes he's not there to talk me down off of my trying to get people to change mode. And so anyway, we're a good balance for each other.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
and we're not in compete. We're not competing to each other.
That's true. And you should see him on the soccer field. Oh my gosh, it's nonsense. There's no way I could win there. So, all right. You want to pray for them? Would you be willing to?
Okay. I'll pray. Dear Father, I pray for this specific person, that whatever's feeling it today, right now, whether empty emotionally, physically, mentally, Father, I pray that you be with them, that you put the right people in their paths. Father, for the husband that is struggling, is having a hard time, or is having a wonderful time, Father, I pray that you continue to be with them, that the focus is on you, that when the focus is on you, all those wonderful things happen and appear in our lives that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And we gladly get it. Father, pray for that wife, Father, that that it feels like to tell the spouse what to do or what to say or anything, Father. I pray that she will just encourage the spouse to let him know that I'm here for you. The same for the husband, to say, I'm here for you. Yes. What is it, babe? What is it, honey? Or whatever the name. I pray, Father, that you be with them every minute, every second, at work, at home, outside, Father. That a lot of evil things happen in this world. I pray that you are the one, your disciples, these people that they hear, they're the ones who bring peace and calmness. That people will feel when they come in closer to them, that they feel that there's an energy, that they feel calmness because you are near. Father, protect them and bless them, encourage them. Yes. Father, thank you so much for this opportunity, for letting me speak. And the words that come in my mouth, Father, I pray that all will be heard, the people that they needed, that my wife will encourage them. And I pray that you continue blessing her. And all the glory to you, for you. In Jesus' mighty name. Yes, amen.
Amen. Amen. Amazing. Thank you, babe. So if you would like us to help you and work with you, my husband says you'll know when it's the right time.
Which is now.
And that's right. That's what I was good. Look at that. DelightYourMarriage.com/cc. Come on. You might be leaving so much opportunity for God to use you and your spouse together because your marriage just isn't healed yet. You can do it. You can do it. DelightYourMarriage.com/cc. We would be so honored to serve you and love you and help God heal your marriage. Help your marriage get healed by God's grace. Ooh. All right. That's it.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.